Hello and welcome to Shell Point Today for Wednesday, January 20th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Join us today as Ruth Deuber returns with another delicious recipe. She's cooking spinach soup in her kitchen. And we'll learn about a Health Connections class on knee replacements with Dr. Eichten.
But first, we'd like to remind you of tomorrow's Computer Club meeting. Mike Peterson of Computer Medics will be the featured speaker this month. He will discuss 25 questions that technicians often ask customers when they call for customer service. Often, when someone has a problem with their computer, it can be difficult to describe. These questions help them diagnose your issues, and they will help you when you attend tomorrow's meeting in the Manatee Room on the island at 2:15.
Looking ahead to this Friday, if you love art and want to be involved in next year's Ageless Creativity Art Exhibition at the Davis Center downtown, then listen up. Exhibition planner Marge Lee of Lucina will join the great folks at the Sidney and Byrne Davis Art Center for an informative session at 10:15 a.m. right here in the Social Center on the island. All residents are encouraged to apply for a juried art exhibition that begins in February of next year, 2017.
Art is great to experience visually, but there's the artful sounds of music that you can enjoy as well. On Friday in the Woodlands Commons lobby on the second floor, come enjoy American Theater Organ Society member Ron Carter as he fills the halls with his seasoned performance. Ron has served 4 churches as organist and music director over the last 40 years. Join us for a relaxing evening of organ music beginning at 6:30, or you can come in an hour early to enjoy hors d'oeuvres at 5:30.
Now it's time to pay a visit to someone who makes art in the kitchen as well. I'm talking about resident Ruth Deuber. As always, she is cooking something delightful to share with us. This time it's spinach soup.
Hello, this is Ruth Deuber, and it's What's Cooking at Shell Point. And I want to thank those of you that had asked, because they haven't seen me for about a month, if I retired from that also, along with Spot. But that's not true. Actually, I'll keep cooking as long as I don't get fired by Channel 11. So today, I'm going to make probably the simplest soup that anybody could make. It's a simple ingredients. Actually, most of it, with the exception of the spinach, you probably have on a shelf, and so we'll do that. This is baby spinach, and it's a 6-ounce package, and we're going to chop it. And the other ingredients is a cup of chicken broth. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit. You can get the canned. And this is about a cup and a half, and we only want a cup. So if you're using canned broth, make sure you measure it out. And the other ingredient is evaporated milk. Now, I haven't cooked with that for years, and this happens to be fat-free. Whoops, I don't want to spill it. Fat-free. You know, you can just use regular evaporated milk, but you can see that you can just have this on the shelf. The other ingredient is onion powder, and that can have in your spice drawer. Now, I'll talk about this. This is better than bouillon. I have used this product for a couple years, and recently I've noticed in the cooking magazines that this is the preferred for making chicken broth. They really prefer this one. And so that's what I'm going to do. That is a teaspoon of the bouillon in a cup of water. Actually, I cheat a little bit. I add a little more than a teaspoon, so make it a little stronger. So we're going to chop up our spinach, and this is tricky because I might have it all over the kitchen, but we'll try not to do it too much. That seems like a lot, but you know spinach really cooks up. So we'll do that. Now sometimes I'll go through and I'll pick out something that doesn't look so good. I'll put it in there. But generally, I just got this day before yesterday, so it looks pretty good. We'll take out a few of those. And we just start chopping. Yes, it does go on the floor. I see some. Now, I don't worry about getting this too chopped up because at the very end, I will use my immersion blender. Okay, now we're ready to go to the stove. Sometimes I take out some of the larger stems if I run across them. There. There's the chicken broth. Turn it on to high, and we'll bring it to a boil. And then I like a flexible cutting board because it makes it easier to put into the pan. I'd like to talk a little bit about an immersion blender. If you don't have one, I would recommend it. I use it so often. I use it to whip up eggs for scrambled eggs, potato soup or leek soup or any kind of soup. I like a few chunks, but not a lot. And so this is what I use. They're very inexpensive, and I recommend them because they really do a final finishing touch to your soup or whatever. So this is almost to a boil. There we go. I think I can start adding the spinach now. Now, let's see if we can keep from spreading it all over the stove. Yep. Ooh, we made it. Now you want to keep an eye on this, so we'll be stirring it occasionally. You want it to cook the spinach. I don't add any salt. I use the onion powder, but a half a teaspoon of the onion powder. That was pretty good. Okay, now it's getting near the finishing point here. We want to give it enough cooking time that it will soften some of the stems. I think it's at the point where we can add the milk. Now it says shake well, but I already opened it, so let's see if I can do it this way. Oh, that worked. Now remember, this is the non-fat, but you can use the regular evaporated milk. Now we'll let that cook for a little bit. Well, now for the cheese. You can also use reduced fat, sharp cheddar cheese. So we're saving some calories right there. This is a 2-cup package, so we'll be careful. Just bring it up again. I just noticed on the package it says it's 33% less fat and 15% fewer calories. So I guess that would be good. Now this is coming to a boil again. Yeah, now it's bubbling nice. Now we're going to add our cheese. And this is going to give it a little thickness and add a lot of flavor. And we'll let that go for a minute, and then I will use my blender. There, she's bubbling good now. So I'm going to turn off the heat. And we'll give it another stir, and then we'll use the blender. And I'm going to take this off the heat to do this. Mainly because my cord isn't long enough for the blender. So now I've been known to splatter quite a bit, so be careful. There, let's see. That's what we want. All right. Yeah, we'll put one more in there. Alrighty, we'll put a little finishing touch on it over here. You can add a little bit of sour cream on the top. And if you have some fresh green onions, those would be good on top of the sour cream. But if you don't have that, you can use one of my favorite things, and that's chives. Put that on there. And I'm thinking that not just spinach, but I think we could use, if you have some vegetables left over, sometimes when I use the ones that you steam, some cauliflower and broccoli, I think you could do that. I think you could put that vegetable in. So use your own imagination. And I forgot my other spoon, but I think you'll like this. The good news is it's already up on the website. I got a little bit ahead this time. So let's have a taste. Oh, I love this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be on again if they don't fire me. This is all for today. Bye-bye.
While spinach might be good for building strong muscles like Popeye the Sailor Man, if you're having problems with your knees, it might be time to pay Dr. Eichten a visit. In Friday's presentation on total knee replacement, he will discuss the latest surgery techniques for those who suffer with pain from rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis, which involves the breakdown of cartilage in your joints. Here's Dr. Eichten to give us a preview of what to expect on Friday.
Hi, I'm Heather Batty with Resort Services, and today I have back with me Dr. Eichten. He's here to talk about knee replacement. Last month we talked about hip replacement, so this will be a little bit different topic this time for the Health Connection. So Dr. Eichten, thanks for coming back and joining us again to do another presentation.
Well, I appreciate you having me. It's always fun to do a talk at Shell Point.
So we are doing Save the Ligaments.
Sure. This is in regards to a total knee replacement. There's another way to save the ligament. That's a partial knee replacement. We'll be talking about both of them. But in the last few years, there's been a new development with knee replacement, and we'll go over that in a lot of detail with pictures and everything. But currently, a traditional total knee replacement requires removal of the ACL.
Right.
That's one of the ligaments in the middle of the knee. It stabilizes the knee. And we're trying to save that so that the knee feels more like a normal knee.
Okay. So you hear a lot about people who have ACL injuries. That happens a lot in sports or just in falls or just as we age. So how are you going to save the ACL? I mean, is that a more extensive procedure now?
The only difference in the procedure as far as a total knee is you change the cuts that you make on the tibial side. So on the tibia, you leave the bone where the ACL is connected. So it's very simple to do in surgery.
Wow.
There is an issue, though, if somebody has had a previous ACL, they're not a candidate for this type of implant. So some patients right off the bat cannot have this type of implant.
Okay.
But if you do have normal ligaments, the only thing worn out is the cartilage, and you need a replacement, this is a good option.
And so does the kneecap actually stay in place?
So with the XP knee, it's called,
Okay.
you replace under the kneecap, the medial side, and the lateral side. So it is considered a total knee replacement, but you're saving the ACL, which you typically cut out in a regular knee replacement.
Okay.
The other option to keep all of your ligaments is to do a partial knee, which works very well, but you only can have arthritis in an isolated one spot.
Well, excellent. We don't want to give away too much of your information that you're going to talk about. So if you want to learn how to save the ligaments, this is total knee replacement or partial replacement, and this will be Friday, January 22nd at 10 a.m. at the Grand Cypress. So we hope to see you there. Thank you, and stay happy and healthy.
And now here's information about an upcoming trip to Matlacha.
It's almost time for the Flavors of Matlacha tour. Come along with us for this historical, public art, ecological, and culinary adventure on January 27th. You'll take in the salty history and tastes of this cracker fishing village turned artist colony. Enjoy lunch at the Matlacha Old Fish House Marina, featuring fresh fish from the Gulf, and just across the bridge, delicious fudge from the CW Fudge Factory. Court pickups for the Flavors of Matlacha tour begin on the island at 7:45 a.m. with an approximate return time of 2:45. The cost of the trip is $24 with lunch on your own. The Flavors of Matlacha on January 27th. Be sure to call or sign up at either service desk while there's still time.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hello and welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Van Scoy and I'm here with Bev Chanley, and we're going to let you know all of Wednesday's activities. We start at 7:45 with men's Bible study. They'll be meeting in the Osprey Room on the island. At 8 o'clock, pickleball will be played at the game courts behind the Resident Activity Center. Also at 8, men's match play tennis will be at the Woodlands. And Lily and Company Jewelers will be here for their weekly service at 8:45 in the Resident Activity Center. The annual Library Book and Media Sale will be happening in the Library Lounge of the Resident Activity Center from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., so make sure you drop by. Jurassic Travel will be in the Egret Room at 9 o'clock and until 12 to help you with all your personal traveling needs. The Watercolor Group with Phil Hilton will be in the Art Studio at 9 a.m. And then we move to 9:15 for card making and scrapbooking. That group will be in the Tarpon Room. Men's match play tennis will be happening at 10 a.m. at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. And the Model Yacht Sailing Club will be at 10:15. They'll be meeting at the Commons Lake at the Woodlands. The Global Outreach Coffee at 10:15 will be in the Hospitality Room of the Village Church. And our last morning activity is at 11:30. It's a Health Connections class, Ball Edition in the Health Club on the island, and that one is currently closed. Here's Bev to tell you all about our afternoon.
Thank you, Caitlin. At 12:45, we have a Health Connections class, Advanced Senior Strength. That's in the Health Club on the island. And we have chess in the Library Lounge at 1 o'clock. We have from 1:30 to 3:30 tours and viewing in the train room down in the tunnel. We have another Health Connections class at 1:45, Balance and Mobility for Beginners in the Health Club. That's currently full. The Knitters Anonymous group will be in the Osprey Room at 2:15. At 2:30, you'll find Jazz and Stuff in the Grand Cypress Room. Go on down for a concert. At 3 o'clock, we have a Bible study in the King's Crown Community Room. Also at 3 o'clock, we have a Health Connections class. This one's Pilates Stretch in the Health Club. Now, indoor bocce will be played in the Health Club at 4:30. And at 5 o'clock, you'll find the singles table at the Crystal Dining Room ready if you're interested. Now, we have a church choir rehearsal at the Village Church at 5:45. And we end the evening with our 7:15 evening worship service at the Village Church. Well, we hope you have a wonderful day today, and we will be back here again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Wednesday. At 9 o'clock, smartphone videography continues in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. At 10 o'clock, the top 10 estate planning mistakes will take place in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. Please sign up for this legacy seminar. At 1 o'clock, Intermediate Bridge continues in the Game Room of the Woodlands. And at 1:15, Organize Your Files and Start Shredding will begin in the Technology Teaching Center on the island, and sign up is required. I'd like to tell you about what's coming tomorrow. The Apple TV, the beginning of the future TV. Don't forget you're going to the new Cove at the Estuary for this class with Bruce Findlay of Sundial. We also have the Viking Age and its impact on us today. Professor Kerr will be teaching his first late afternoon history class for those who have signed up.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is beef stroganoff with noodles and roasted beets. The dinner special is the International Buffet for $14.95. The soup of the day is chicken tortilla. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a grilled meatloaf sandwich on rye with fries for $7.75. The dinner special is grilled shrimp for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are New York strip with sweet peppers for $19.95 or grilled cobia for $16.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. Douglas Barrett passed away on December 15, 2015 in England, having reached the age of 92. He had been a gunner in the Royal Navy in World War II. More recently, he had worked as a train driver. Doug boasted 5 children, 12 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. Little wonder that a large crowd assembled for his funeral. Due to his distinguished service record, members of the Royal British Legion from across the region arrived to join the family for the funeral service of this war hero. In fact, some 70 people showed up on a cold and rainy day to commemorate his life and lay his body to rest in Mexborough Cemetery near Doncaster. Everything was ready for the big event. A workman had skillfully used a JCB digger to prepare Mr. Barrett's grave, and the town council had taken responsibility for sending someone to unlock the graveyard church an hour ahead of the event to turn on the heat. I should say almost everything was ready, however. The mourners had arrived on schedule, but the man appointed to unlock the church was nowhere to be seen. Where could he be? Here were 70 people standing outside in the cold and rain, needing a way to get into the locked church. They waited and waited. For 40 minutes they waited, growing colder and wetter by the minute. Several hardy fellows leaned on the church door in the hopes of breaking the lock, but the lock held and the door remained closed. Then someone had an idea. The JCB digger was nearby, as was the operator. So they prevailed upon him to use the machine to gently nudge the door hard enough to break the lock. Cautiously, the cooperative laborer approached the porch in his excavator. He placed the bucket next to the door and gently applied pressure. Suddenly, boom, the lock snapped and the door flew open, evoking a rousing cheer from the mourners, who quickly entered the unheated church with the coffin, beginning the service without further delay. In due course, Doncaster Council spokesman David Wilson apologized to the family for the incident and assured them that the council will learn a lesson from the incident to be sure this doesn't happen to other mourners. The deceased's son-in-law, Mr. Venables, 68, said that the whole event was a bit of a farce, but he added, I'm sure I heard a chuckle from the coffin. Indeed, if Douglas Barrett had been alive, he would have split his sides laughing. There was no record of how the damage to the lock and the church door were accounted for. Now, the story of a closed door reminded me of a celebrated painting, which hangs in St. Paul's Cathedral in London. This life-size masterpiece by William Holman Hunt is entitled The Light of the World. It's a depiction of Jesus with a lamp in his hand, knocking on an overgrown and long unopened door, which has no handle on the outside. The door, which can only be opened from the inside, represents, said the artist, the shut mind. Hunt was inspired by a verse in the Bible, Revelation chapter 3, verse 20. I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends. End quote. It was addressed to a church in Laodicea, modern-day Turkey, that was wealthy and complacent. They were self-satisfied and lacking the presence of Jesus. He knocked on the door of their hearts, or their shut minds, to quote the artist. But since they were preoccupied with worldly pleasures, they didn't notice or care that Jesus was trying to enter their community. The pleasures of this world can be dangerous because the temporary satisfaction they provide can make us indifferent to God's offer of lasting satisfaction. Now, if you are feeling detached from church, uninterested in the Bible, unresponsive to God, maybe it could be because you have failed to open your door to God. So today he knocks. And he offers to come into your life and to be a friend. So let's do a check on our hearts and minds to be sure our door is constantly open to God. After all, it shouldn't take a JCB digger to break the lock. And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.
Well, that brings today's program to a close. Tune in again tomorrow when Dottie Morrison will show us what's happening at the photo studio. We'll watch as the Woodlands tennis courts get a fresh surface, and Kathy Miskell will present the results of the Christmas Fund Drive for 2015. This has been Shell Point Today for Wednesday, January 20th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation, thanking you for taking time from your day to spend with us. We'll see you again next time.